This presentation was prepared by student attorneys at South Texas College of Law Houston, the Low Income Taxpayer Clinic. In this presentation, you will learn important information about what it means to be a dependent for tax purposes and what the tax implications of having a dependent are. We are South Texas College of Law Low Income Taxpayer Clinic. We assist Houston's low-income community with various tax controversies. Please call us at 1-800-646-1253 or email us at taxclinic@stcl.edu. We will start by explaining who is a dependent. A dependent is a person who depends on you for the majority of their support. That would mean that you, the taxpayer, provide 50% or more of the dependent's support. There are other criteria that the person needs to meet in order for them to qualify as your dependent. Why is having a dependent beneficial? Claiming a dependent on your tax return may reduce the amount you owe to the IRS, or you may receive a refund. If you qualify to claim a dependent on your tax return, then you may be able to claim important credits such as child tax credit and earned income credit.
There are two types of dependents. One type of dependent is a qualifying child, and the other type of dependent is a qualifying relative. To be deemed a qualifying child, all of the following tests must be met. The first test is the relationship test. To meet this test, the child must be your son, daughter, foster child, adopted child, or descendant, for example, a grandchild, or brother, sister, half-brother, half-sister, step-brother, step-sister, or descendant, for example, a niece or a nephew. The second test is the age test. To qualify as a dependent, the child must be under the age of 19 at the end of the calendar year, or under age 24 and a full-time student at the end of the year, or any age if permanently and totally disabled at any time during the year. The third test is the residency test. To qualify as a dependent, the child must have lived with you for more than half of the year. The final test and fourth test is the support test. To qualify as dependent, the child cannot have provided more than half of his or her own support for the year. To be deemed a qualifying relative, all of the following three tests must be met. The first test is the gross income test. To pass this test, the potential dependent must have earned less than $4,050 for the applicable tax year. The second test is the support test. To meet this test, you, the taxpayer, must have provided more than half of a person's total support during the calendar year. The final and third test is the member of household or relationship test. The potential dependent must have either 1, lived with you all year as a member of your household, or 2, be related to you in one of the following ways: be a child of the taxpayer, a descendant of a child of the taxpayer, taxpayer's mother or father or ancestors of father or mother, for example, grandparents, taxpayer's stepfather or stepmother, brother, sister, or step-sibling of the taxpayer, son or daughter of a brother or sister of the taxpayer, for example, a niece or a nephew, brother or sister of taxpayer's father or mother, for example, an aunt or an uncle, or be the son-in-law, daughter-in-law, father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, or sister-in-law of the taxpayer.
Can a child be a qualifying child of more than one person? Only one person may claim the child as a dependent. They cannot agree to split the benefits. But what if two people can claim the same child? If there are two parents who do not file jointly and do not live together, the child is the qualifying child of the parent with whom the child resides for the longest period during that year. If the parent of a child are separated, live apart, and file separate tax returns, and the child live with both parents the same amount of time in the year, then the parent with the highest adjusted gross income may claim the child as a qualifying child. Please remember that the qualifying child and qualifying relative can be claimed as a dependent after meeting the test if the following statements are true. First, you are the only one claiming the person as a dependent, which means you cannot claim someone who takes a personal exemption for himself or claims another dependent on his own tax return. Second, the dependent is a citizen of the United States, a United States national, a United States resident, or a resident of Canada or Mexico. Many people wonder if they can claim a foreign exchange student who temporarily lives with them. The answer is maybe, but only if they meet this requirement. Third, The dependent is not filing a joint return. You cannot claim someone who is married and files a joint tax return. Say you support your married teenage son. If he files a joint return with his spouse, you can't claim him as a dependent. Examples: your girlfriend's 6-year-old son, who is not your child, lived with you and your girlfriend all year. Further assume that the girlfriend has no income and you provide more than half of her son's support. He is your qualifying relative and you can claim him as a dependent. But, although the child is your dependent, you may not be able to claim the earned income credit for the child because the child is not your qualifying child. Next, your son was 24 and single at the end of 2017. He was unemployed and lived at home all year long. He is too old to be a qualifying child, but because his income was under $4,050 and you provided more than half of his support for the year, he is your qualifying relative and can be claimed as a dependent. Changes for 2018 and beyond. The 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act adds slight changes to the prior rules. There is no personal exemption deduction for 2018 through 2025. The allowable child tax credit amount will be increased. The child tax credit is available even to those with higher incomes. Partial credits may be allowed for a dependent other than a qualifying child, such as a parent living with his or her adult children. And lastly, a taxpayer must provide a Social Security number for a dependent being claimed for the credit.
If you have any further questions, please contact us at the Low Income Taxpayer Clinic, South Texas College of Law, Houston, via phone or email. This video was prepared by Sulma Albanez,
Tiffany Vo,
and Matt Delgado.